do is 2838, and then the plan is to do 2879, and followed by 2544. So those are the first three that we have going. Ms. Molly, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. House Bill 2838 is retroactive to tax years beginning January 1st, 2018, and establishes an elective entity-level income tax for partnerships, limited liability companies, and S-corporations, which is assessed at a rate of 4% of the entity's entire income derived from sources within Arizona. The bill subjects a business entity whose taxable income is $150,000 or more to the estimated tax payments required for an individual taxpayer. The bill establishes the credit for entity-level income tax and sets the amount of the credit as the partners, members, or shareholders' pro rata share of the entity-level tax paid by the business entity. Additionally, the bill allows a taxpayer to claim a credit for any substantially similar tax levied and paid in another state. Lastly, the bill requires the Arizona Department of Revenue to adopt rules necessary to administer the entity-level tax election. Mr. Chair, there is an amendment I'd be happy to explain.
Please do.
Mr. Chair, the two-page amendment in your name dated March 18th, 2021 at 4:03 p.m. removes limited liability companies from the entity-level tax election and increases the entity-level tax to 4.5% from 4%. The amendment delays the requirement that a partnership or an S-corporation pay estimated tax payments until tax years beginning January 1st, 2022. And lastly, the amendment requires taxes that ADOR determines are substantially similar to the entity-level tax to be added to the Arizona gross income when computing Arizona adjusted gross income. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Senators, any questions for our staff on this bill 2838? Seeing none, we're happy to have the bill sponsor here. Please come in, introduce yourself, tell us what district you are, and tell us why you're running the bill and why you like 2838.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Joseph Chaplick, District 23, and this bill, staff explained it very well, so thank you. Simply put, it does not hurt the state of Arizona. It allows S-corps, partnerships, and LLCs to pay their quarterly taxes into the state, get revenue into this state a little quicker, and then they are allowed to pass through that number on their federal returns as a pass-through expense on their federal returns. So this passed the House 59-1. It's an excellent bill. It further helps the state of Arizona stay pro-business. And with that, I think we have a couple of speakers, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
And I just want to clarify for the staff that the amendment I'm doing on your bill, we worked on together, and you're supportive of the amendment.
Correct. Thank you.
Yep, I always like to just the senators to hear that. Senators, any questions for the representative on his bill? Seeing none, can you stay a minute?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And then if you want closing, we'll give that to you also.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I believe we have two people signed in on the bill. Mr. Active Vice Chair, would you like to pick one of them? Pick Kevin and
sure. Kevin Domenes here. Kevin, welcome to Senate Finance. If you want to introduce yourself, who you're representing today.
Kevin, we cannot hear you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Members of the committee. My name is Kevin Domena. I'm a partner at Domena Public Affairs here on behalf of our client, Main Street Employers. We support this legislation. We encourage you to do the same. We're in support of the amendment. And with that, I'm happy to answer questions. We have Brian Reardon here, who is a national expert on this. We've done this in 18 states. Arizona should be next. We urge you to support this.
Senators, any questions for Kevin? Seeing none, let's bring in the second person, please, Mr. Vice Chair.
Brian Reardon. Mr. Reardon, welcome to Senate Finance. If you can introduce yourself for the record and who you're representing today.
Sure, thank you. Brian Reardon, President of the S-Corporation Association. We represent on the federal level S-Corporations. We also run the Main Street Employers Coalition, which has been pushing for the SALT Parity reforms for pastors for the last 3 years. We've been successful in getting it adopted in a number of states. We're active in another dozen states, including here in Arizona, to try to get it adopted. The challenge is that with the new SALT cap, it applies to individuals. It does not apply to C corporations. So big public companies don't are not subject to the cap. They have to, or they can deduct all of their state and local taxes that they pay. Pass-throughs are stuck in the middle. If the entity, the business itself, the S-Corp, the partnership, pays the tax, then it is deductible as a business expense. If the income and the tax are paid at the shareholder level, as they are in Arizona and they are in most states, then it's subject to that new cap. So this reform, the idea is to allow for businesses to make an election, to pay their tax at the entity level. It restores the SALT deduction for those businesses and their owners. It doesn't cost the state any money. There's a fiscal note that confirms that this will be revenue neutral to Arizona. All the expense comes at the expense of the federal tax, the Treasury. The IRS has signed off on this. Last November, they made clear that these efforts are consistent with the underlying statute, the tax reform that was passed in 2017. And we, encourage you to do it. There's 175,000 S-Corps and partnerships in Arizona that would potentially benefit from this. And as I said, it doesn't reduce Arizona revenues at all.
Thank you, Brian. Senators, any questions for our guest speaker today? So I just wanted to personally thank Brian and Kevin both. I did a Zoom call with them, and I asked a lot of questions, and we went very, very detailed on this subject matter, and I'm very comfortable with this bill, and I'm happy that the sponsor brought us this bill, and we know the details of it. Senators, any follow-up questions? Seeing none. Representative, any closing comments?
No, Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank you for hearing it and supporting it, and I hope everyone else supports it as well, like they did in the House. Thank you.
So, Ms. Ugenti, Rita, if you could come back on board, and we can vote. I saw you there a second ago. I need 6 members live to be able to vote, and I have 5 right now. And members, if we don't have that, what we will be doing is going to the next bill as soon as we have 6, and then voting without any discussion, just comments, and bring them back up. So let's give a second here and see if we can get another person
Do we have
here.
staffing issues? Do we have a whole lot of issues and why we can't do it this coming month? That's what we're trying to say and kind of take it on
I
a
understand that.
month-by-month basis.
Yep,
I
thank
think
you,
it
Ms.
should be
Ugenti. We have 6 people here. Mr. Vice Chair, please move the bill followed by the amendment.
Mr. Chair, I move House Bill 2838 with a due pass recommendation. I move the 2-page amendment to HB 2838 in your name dated March 18, 2021 at 4:03 p.m. be adopted.
Members, all those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. The amendment is adopted. Please move the bill as amended.
Mr. Chair, I move House Bill 2838 as amended, receive a due pass recommendation.
Senators, any further discussion on this bill? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Senator Alston?
Mr. Chairman, this is Leila Alston from Legislative District 24, and I vote aye on House Bill 2838. Thank you.
Thank you. Alston votes aye.
Senator Bowie?
Aye.
Senator Boyer? Senator Engel?
Aye.
Ingo votes aye.
Senator Mendez?
Senator Mendez from District 26, I vote no on House Bill 2838.
Mendez votes no.
Senator Mesnard? Senator Peterson? Senator Ugenti Rita?
Aye.
Ugenti Rita votes aye.
Senator Leach? Senator Livingston?
Aye.
5 ayes, 1 nay, 4 not voting.
Senators, by a vote of 5 yeses, 1 no, 4 not voting, you have given HB 2838 as amended a due pass recommendations. Thank you, Senators. Congratulations, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Thank you, members.
Outside of his